Welcome to the Witch's House. The Beverly Hills home is a protected landmark. It was built 100 years ago in Culver City for Willat Studios. The exterior originally served as a set, while the interior held offices. The structure was moved to Beverly Hills in 1926 and converted into a house. If you look it up on Wikipedia, in addition to the Witch's House, it's also called the Spadina House after former homeowners. And it didn't leave the Hollywood spotlight after the move. You may recognize it from the film Clueless. People are constantly outside posing for photos, and tour buses continually pass the storybook abode. Every Halloween, thousands line up for a chance to trick or treat. Now a treat for you, a tour inside the home.
Hello. Olivia!
Michael!
Oh my God, welcome to my funky sanctuary.
So Michael is a realtor and he's the homeowner of the Witch's House. Michael, tell us, what is the Witch's House?
It's a long story, but no, the Witch's House came to this lot in 1927, 28 approximately. Nobody really knows how it got here, which is a fascinating story. There's no photography of it being moved. It was in Culver City in 1920, built as a studio, office, and set. But how it got here, I always say a tornado picked it up and dropped it here.
So by 1926, Ford Lachelle got the idea, why not move it to Beverly Hills, which was still, by 1926, there were plenty of empty lots everywhere in Beverly Hills. Ford Lachelle eventually sold it to a guy named Spadina, and he and his wife lived in the house.
So I'm only the third owner of the house.
So it originally had three, the entryway, a room here, a room
Correct.
here, upstairs.
The upstairs existed as whatever it was, yeah.
In the 60s, they added on the bedrooms.
Yes.
And then when
when I got it, I added onto the bedrooms further and added onto the kitchen area to give it the kind of the substantial nature I wanted out of the kitchen. But the additions that were done back in the 60s especially were done so poorly in terms of cheap material, inconsistent designs. It had nothing to do with the integrity of the house. I wanted something kind of odd and unique as I feel I am, so I brought the house not back to what it was because it never was this. And I thought, oh, I'll paint and carpet and be done. And 10 years later, it was kind of done. That's how long it took to remodel. So I recreated the stairway and introduced, everything is fully like mosaic tile hand laid. There's no sheets of tile here. It took forever to do it.
Now in the teens, 20s, 30s, and even some in the 40s, there was a trend in Los Angeles to build fantasy architecture. Carl Doc Willat and Irvin Willat formed their own company called the Willat Film Company and settled in on Culver City across from the Thomas Ince Studio on Washington Boulevard and built, with Harry Oliver's design, the Willat Studio.
It hasn't been in a lot of films. I think people imagine that it has been. A lot of people think it was in Hocus Pocus because there was a home similar to it at the beginning of the film, but it was absolutely not.
Oh, look. Another glorious morning. Makes me sick.
People think it's a Disney house. They think it was in so many things. My thing is enjoy.
So what room should we start in?
Well, we are starting in the entry. We may as well go to the salon,
Okay, wonderful.
as I like to call it. Watch your step.
So originally, what was in here?
So I'm standing in what was the dining room, and there was another door behind me here, which I sealed up because it was ineffective to have two front doors. I just turned it into like a music salon. So you've got some split reed furniture, a great 1890 Chickering piano. I had the table fabricated out of an olive tree and a hammered zinc top. But if you notice all the shapes in the home, they're rather amorphous. So there's nothing like properly shaped throughout the entire house.
So before we move on to what Michael added, we're going to see the rest of the house.
Right. Yeah, no. So here's another original room.
Was this the bedroom?
No, this was always a den. This roof line was always like this. The corbels on the beams, I did. They were just basic beams. The flooring itself is an antique French clay roof tile. This is like a hangout room, the TV room.
Tell us about these windows too. They're beautiful.
Yes, some of the windows in the home are original, but I had to fully restore them. So this was original to the house. These front, I think 5 or 6 windows are original to the house. And they're designed by the set designer, Harry Oliver, who actually designed the house.
It was Doc, his brother, Carl, and Irvin that started the Willat Film Company in 1920. And They hired Harry Oliver, who was an art director at the time in the films, but he also was the designer of the Van de Kamp windmills. That was a famous bakery in Los Angeles that dates back to the teens. Harry Oliver was the first art director to win an Academy Award.
So let's go upstairs and we'll see the
You want to go upstairs? Sure.
last part of the original studio before it was converted into a home.
Well, come on up. Watch your head on the right. This was going to be my office, and it became a game room because I really, really enjoy my physical office, and I don't like to bring work home.
And then what's that door up there?
We can't talk about that. It's just the attic space.
I like that we can't talk about that. The attic.
It's the
but
attic.
It looks like a hidden door that you'd find in a fairy
It
tale.
does. You can imagine whatever you wish, but it's really, really boring up there. It's
Hansel
just
and
an
Gretel
attic space.
style.
First of all, I don't cook, but I know what a good kitchen looks like, so I wanted something that was incredibly functional and looked great. So here it is. The center island was actually a conference table from Indonesia, so I had it bandsawed into this very funky amorphous shape. And it's really a piece of furniture. The bottle glass I integrated into the top cabinets because originally I had done all wood. So about 10 years later, I was like, nah, it's too much wood. So I actually had my glass people, James Thomas Stained Glass in Studio City, who did all the glass in here. They created that for me, and it's very cool.
And these little dogs.
These are my pets.
Yeah. So is it decorated like this year round?
Yes.
With the witch hanging from the
Yes,
chandelier?
because over my course of travels and just through birthdays, and people bring me things that they think are appropriate for the home. So this is the primary guest bath in the house, with a mural that integrates tile and just a great paint job. So the lady who painted the house actually did this mural. This is a fun hallway.
This has a lot of Snow White vibes.
Exactly. Well, somebody said Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, but I don't recall the ride at Disneyland. So.
Anything Disney, it pretty much fits.
Exactly. So here's the guest bedroom, with a handcrafted metal bed, of course. If you have long hair, it's a problem if you're a guest because it will get caught in that headboard. If you look at all the plumbing fixtures and the showers are all outside of the tile, because it was designed to look as if it's 300 years old and somebody put indoor plumbing in later on. That's the concept. Shall we enter into the master chambers?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Wow.
This room is not even totally finished. I mean, literally, I got so tired and wanted to move in, I didn't even do an entertainment center around that area. I wanted high ceilings and got high ceilings. So I think it's a 15-foot ceiling.
So this is the backyard.
Yeah, the yard wraps around the kitchen. The pool, I wanted a pool because I love to swim.
So there was no pool before?
There was no pool. It was red brick and a couple of plum trees.
I have one more question. Is Halloween your favorite holiday?
I would say it was not until I bought this house. It has become my favorite holiday.
I can't imagine what it's like on Halloween.
It is insanity. On Halloween, we actually have the streets blocked off, police presence, security, personal security guards for me, 4,000 to 5,000 attendees at the front of the house. They never come up to the front doors. It's actually hazardous. And about 6,000 pieces of candy are handed out. It's great. You know, I don't have kids of my own. I have koi fish, as you've seen in my pond. Those are my children, but they don't smile. They just, want food. But to see the smile on people's faces, whether it's children or adults, it's kind of cross-generational. It really warms my heart to be able to give that back to a community where it's like my house, but the house can kind of give that out, that vibe out. And again, it's like paying it forward. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience.